Hey, welcome to the Wake Up Show. My name is King Shiludum. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're doing fantastic. So today we are starting with our news headline news headline segment. So in this segment, we're basically going to pick stories from across the world, especially in the United States, here in the UK, and then just talk about the stories and look at how relevant it is in relation to the church and society as a whole. So I hope you enjoy this segment. I'm really looking forward to this segment because in this segment we get to talk about Christianity in practice. We get to talk about what is happening right now in our society because sometimes we talk about a lot of things in the Bible and it is almost abstract. Okay, now yes, we do relate the Bible to our personal lives, but then as a whole, we don't live in a bubble as Christians. We live in a world. The Bible says that we are in this world, but we are not of this world. So whatever is going on around us affects us as Christians. So we will be looking at all these things, and then we will be looking at very juicy, interesting stories. Most of you may, or you may disagree with me on a lot of issues, but that's fine. I just hope you hear me out. If you have any disagreements, just pop it in the comment and let's see how that goes. But today we are going to talk about the Equality Act, which was passed in the United States a couple of weeks ago by the House of Representatives. So let's get into it. We're going to talk more about it. Let's get right into it. Yeah, so the Equality Act. First of all, let me just say that a lot has been happening this week. So you have the whole Meghan Markle, Harry interview with Oprah Winfrey. Honestly, I don't really care if you ask me. I have my own reservations, but I'm not going to talk about it because, whatever. I guess that is an opinion as well, even if you don't care. People see you a certain way anyway. But let me know if you want me to talk about it. I will, but, I just won't leave them alone. They should also leave us alone with their stories and their lives. And you have a lot of things going on with cancel culture, which we will be talking a lot about um, on this show, especially for the next few weeks. And so, but then I chose to talk about this topic because I'd already seen it and I said, oh, this is interesting. I actually have a bunch of stories out there. And these stories have been around for a couple of months, and I actually plan on talking about them, talking about the stories, just to talk about a broader point. So we might be looking at a couple of old stories, but I think they're still relevant. Um, but anyway, let's get into it. So the Equality Act. Now, you hear the Equality Act and you're like, oh, this sounds cool. Yeah, everyone is going to get equality. I think this was introduced in 2019. It passed in the House of Representatives, but it didn't go through the Senate. So if you're not really conversant with the American system, or legislature, um, they have the House of Representatives and the Senate. So I think in order to pass a law, you have to go through the Senate, or you have to go through the House of Representatives, and then you go through the Senate. And if it goes through the Senate, the law is passed. Something like that. I'm not a legal expert. Certainly not in American, um, law. Okay, but I love American news stories and politics because they're for the most part interesting and fun. Here in Britain, it's quite dull, and I'm not really a big fan of either. The Conservative Party or the Labour Party. But in America, it's quite brutal, and there's a lot we can take from America. As America goes, so does the rest of the world. And so it is important that as Christians, we sort of, even if it's not on a usual basis, so occasionally just check in and see what is happening in America. Maybe it might be happening here in the UK or wherever you may find yourself. And I'll give you an example. Last year, George Floyd, the race relations stuff, people were burning, looting, killing, doing all sort of, crazy stuff happening in America. By the time we realized it was here in the UK, people were doing the same thing. and then it spread across Europe and all over the world. And so that is why I am saying whatever happens in America, it is very likely that at some point you will see it happening in your country, wherever you may find yourself. So yeah, now let's go back to the Equality Act. Now, you would think, after the 1960s, 70s, you think, oh yeah, the civil rights came and people were not supposed to be discriminated based on race, gender, da 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 da. So you think, oh yeah, it's cool. So you hear this Equality Act and you think, oh, maybe, it's something that is harmless. Maybe they're trying to rectify something, which in their opinion, they might say, yeah, we're trying to rectify something here. But then it is basically something that I believe, in my opinion, targets religious institutions. And I just want to read the bill. And there's one particular part of the bill that I wanted to focus on. So it starts by saying this is from congress.gov. So there's, I think, the official page of the, you know, I think, yeah, Congress. Yeah. So it says, this bill prohibits discrimination based on sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity in a wide variety of areas, including public accommodations and facilities, education, federal funding, employment, housing credit, and the jury system. Specifically, this bill defines and includes sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity among the prohibited categories of discrimination or segregation. Okay, now I just want to jump quickly to the part I'm talking about. So you get a sense of what this bill is. Protections against discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or national origin shall include protections against discriminations based on one, an association with another person who is a member of such a protected class, or two, a perception or belief, even if inaccurate, that an individual is a member of such a protected class. Now, this is an important point where I want us to be, you know, I want us to focus on. This part says the bill prohibits the Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993 from providing a claim, defense, or basis for challenging such protections. In other words, what you're saying is, you shouldn't discriminate. You shouldn't discriminate against anybody based on race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, blah blah blah. And all this lovely stuff. And yeah, fair enough, okay. But then at the same time, they're like, actually, if you're a religious person or a religious organization, entity, whatever, you can't make a claim, or you can't make a defense if someone comes in and they say you discriminated against me based on, say, my sexual orientation or sexual identity or gender identity and stuff like that, right? And it is funny because on one hand you're saying people shouldn't discriminate based on religion, and on the other hand the law itself is discriminating against people of faith. And so which is which, right? And so it makes you wonder, does it, are we talking about all religions or some religions? I'll leave that up to you to think about. But what is the religious what did they say? Religious Freedom Restoration Act. This is what it says. So it prohibits any agency, department, or official of the United States or any state of a government from substantially burdening a person's exercise of religion, even if the burden results from a rule of general applicability. So I think basically what you're trying to say is the government can't interfere in your religious belief, right? Something like that. Again, I'm not a legal scholar, so I am a final year psychology student. So I'm not going to attempt to even do the law. So I'm not going to attempt to do any legal analysis here. Far be it from me. But I just want to show you how dangerous, if you like, this law is to Christians and, to be honest, other religions. But let's be honest, when it comes to religion, right? What people talk about religion and religious bigotry, they almost always refer to Christians, right? You barely hear anyone talk about Islam in that light. You barely hear you know, anyone go after any other religion, especially the liberal leftist types go after Islam, because those guys are, protected and all this stuff. Anything speaking ill of Islam is classified as Islamophobia. I don't know. There's no phobia for Christianity, so I guess we are on our own. But hey, we know we're not on our own, so because God is with us. Um, but anyway, just to show you the how things can escalate with this legislature. I don't know if you guys know Jack Phillips, right? Or if you've ever heard of his name. So Jack Phillips was a Christian baker, or I think he still is a Christian baker in America. This gay couple come to him. I think this case was like 2012, right? They come to him. They're like, "All right, we want you to bake a cake for our wedding or something like that, and we want you to put some sort of message indicating that we are a gay couple." And Jack Phillips goes like, "I'm sorry, I can't do that. Yeah, uh, I'm a Christian. It goes against what I believe. I can do every other thing you want me to do for you. I can sell you cupcakes. I can do. In fact, let us listen to what Jack Phillips said in his own words. Let's listen.
If a gay couple came in and said that we'd like some cupcakes for our
Absolutely.
wedding.
I told these two men when they came to the store, I'll sell you cookies, brownies, birthday cakes. I'll make you custom cakes. I'll make anything
It's just
for
the
you.
art of the cake.
This cake is a specific cake. A wedding cake is a wedding is an inherently religious event, and the cake is definitely a specific message that goes
Okay,
with that.
so you heard it right there, right? So this man politely said, "I'll do anything else. I can sell you cupcakes. I'm not denying you services. I just can't go against my conscience and sell you this cake, right?" And then these guys were like, "We're not gonna have it. We're gonna take you to court." Took him to court, and I think his state actually ruled in favor of a gay couple. He took it further, and it eventually ended up in the Supreme Court. And this took like ages. It took like I think about 6 years. The final verdict, if you like, was pronounced in 2018, so just about 2-3 years ago. And he actually won. The Supreme Court was like, actually, apparently, long story short, I don't want to get into it because of time, but they they um they ruled in favor of him. Like I think it was 7-2. So there are 9 Supreme Court justices, and then they get to, depending on how it goes, the number. So 5-4, 7-2. However it goes, you win. So an odd number, definitely there's going to be a winner, right? So 7-2 is a high, ruling in your favor. You don't usually get that, and thank God for that, right? But this legislature wasn't in place at that time. So imagine if this law was around during that time. What would have happened? This man would have been sued. He would have been forced to pay whatever amount, whatever punishment there is. He would have been, it would have been he would have been forced to pay, ridiculous amounts of money, whatever the punishment was supposed to be, right? And I think he actually lost a lot of money when it came to legal cases and trying to pay off his lawyers and stuff like that, right? So yeah, to some extent there was some damage done. Now, this is what I'm trying to say. Now, this law actually says that in this case, if this law was in place during this man's case, right? It would have been likely, or it was very likely that he would have lost the case, right? And you're going to see this coming, Christians, my Christian brothers and sisters. You're going to see this coming in my churches, all over the world. Well, in the United States, here in the UK, there was a similar case. Again, they ruled in favor of a Christian, but then day by day, they're pushing it, and eventually we are going to find ourselves, saying that, oh, how did we get here? And that's why I want Christians to wake up. That is the whole, purpose of this show. Wake up, speak up. Don't be afraid to say what the Bible is saying in love and in compassion, right? Don't go about, condemning people, right? No one has a right to condemn except God. Go about lovingly, say what you believe, with wisdom, but then don't be pushed down, right? Wake up. Don't just say, it's gonna go away, who cares, right? I want you to wake up. Now, what can we take from this? Number one, I want us to be very vigilant and not be fooled by name tags, right? The name suggests that it is the Equality Act. So, as a Christian, you think, oh yeah, equality. Who doesn't like equality? Sounds nice, doesn't it? You wouldn't go like, no, if you heard it for the first time, you didn't know anything about it, and for example, someone else said, no, I'm against this bill, right? You just go like, look at this racist, right? How can you not like equality? That is the first thing that will come to mind. But then actually, you get to read it and you're like, oh, actually, there's more to this thing than I thought, right? As I realized, I know there's more to it. And it applies to a lot of things. It applies to, organizations or movements like Black Lives Matter. People will go like, yeah, of course, Black Lives Matter. Like, what is wrong with you? And I personally, I disagree with the whole movement, the whole organization. You can disagree with me, that's fine. But maybe I'll make a video. I'll probably make a video on it, actually, because, there are things, sort of boiling up and, things are getting heated. And we might see what happened last year and probably even worse. I pray that doesn't happen. But yeah, I disagree with the whole Black Lives Matter BLM movement, organization, whatever you want to call it. I disavow completely. You have stuff like women's rights or women's choice when people are talking about stuff like abortion, right? They never say we are for abortion. They're always like women's right or women's choice. You go like, all right, yeah. Who doesn't like women's right? Okay, I'm not gonna say that word, but you get the idea. So don't be fooled by names. Don't be played by names. When you hear something and people are disagreeing with it, especially Christians, just take a second and go like, why is it that this thing sounds nice, decent, but then some people are disagreeing with it, right? Go look it up. Maybe you might, realize that actually there's more to this thing than just equality as they claim, right? And so we should beware. And cancel culture is coming for all of us, right? Including Jesus Christ. They are canceling Jesus Christ, yeah. And I'm going to talk about that in our next episode, right? In our next episode, we're going to talk about why Jesus Christ is cancelled or has been cancelled by some people. Okay. So stay tuned and thank you very much for watching today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. You might disagree with some of the stuff I said. That's okay. That's fine. Let me know in the chat. Please, I want you guys to comment. Like, I want to know what is going through your heads. And thank you very much. Previous video, we got like 53 views the last time I checked. Thank you so much. And I hope you continue to support the channel, like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the lovely stuff. I want it to be interactive. Comment and let me hear what you're thinking, right? Because sometimes it's just like it's me and my camera talking, right? Or, me and my microphone if you're listening via podcast. So thank you very much for tuning in today. And remember, next week we're talking about why Jesus Christ is cancelled. So thank you very much.